All right, guys, welcome to the channel. Thanks for watching. I just wanted to introduce my project car. This is my 1962 Ford Falcon. It's a two-door Futura, and I have cut it up quite significantly. Most of the body panels are pretty well stock, fenders, doors, quarters, aside from shaving the trim down the whole side of the car. I have flush fit the windshield all the way around. This should fit a factory glass. I just brought the edges in around it, so it'll be a little bit wider here, but once I blend it all in, I feel like it'll be just fine. I've got a 63 wagon that's got this big gap here with the trim on it, so once you glue the windshield in place, kind of like a modern car, I think it'll look really good, actually. So I did the front windshield, and I also did the back glass as well. I trimmed all that up, shortened up the gap there a lot, and it should fit flush and look, bring it up to date quite a bit, actually. Also, I have shaved the rain gutters all the way down the side of the car. It actually has a kind of a neat little lip there. So on the side, you can't, from afar, you can't really tell, but if you look down the side of the car, you certainly can tell that the drip rails are gone. Slicks it up a lot. You start down here at the very bottom front of the car here. This whole lower panel is handmade in 3 pieces. And I've cut a little slot here so it can direct some more air into the radiator and the air conditioning condenser, and help cool the engine a little bit as well. The core support, the front of it has been modified pretty heavily. This all here is all pretty well original, just so I can locate the headlights and help locate the fenders. The stone guard will be a custom piece made. The bumper is made from Corvair bumper. It's similar to a Camaro, but it has a little bit of different shape. That was perfect timing, wasn't it? Anyway, the grill, like I said, the bumper is from a Corvair, several different pieces. I trimmed up the edges here and got it nice and tight. It may be a little too tight. I may come back and trim that a little bit better. It's a driver, but I want it to be nice and clean. I do watch a lot of TV and get a lot of wild ideas in my head, and try to come in here and duplicate them best of my abilities and the best I can with my tools that I have. I made these little covers here. These are the original shock towers for the front suspension I chose to go with. Just finished up these guys here. These are molded in and cut around the hood hinges, so it looks a lot better and a lot more finished. Once I get through to the bodywork stage, they'll smooth up a lot better and really tie in nicely, I think. I've made a cover here for the steering U-joint, so you can't really see it. Makes it a lot cleaner. It's got a little support bearing here, so when I put the steering box back in, it'll tie in nicely. So what I've done here with this front suspension, you see an axle up front there. I've actually got the front end off of a early 90s Blazer or a Oldsmobile Bravada. So it's all-wheel drive. This car is going to be all-wheel drive. Very similar to the Cyclone and Typhoon from the early 90s. This is the transfer case here I'll be using. It's a Borg-Warner unit, and it is full-time all-wheel drive. And I'm going to power this beast with good old tried and true 5.3 Vortec truck motor for now. I've got this mock-up motor sitting here so I can do the wiring. Going to custom make the harness because I have relocated the fuse block to the rear of the car and want to hide all the wires. They will come along here and go into the custom interior. Is just digging more holes by making everything one off. The whole dash is made from flat sheet metal and some round tubing. This is a steering column. It's a tilt wheel from a Lincoln, mid-60s Lincoln. I stripped all the stuff out of it. It had a weird, funky turn signal deal in it. And I'm going to have to update that somehow with maybe a different style, I guess. I've hidden the brake master cylinder so hard-headedly under the dash, so it makes it real easy to get in there and service. The switch panel here, most Falcons have a switch panel across here and across this panel here, this part of the tubing here. I chose to hide mine underneath the dash, so the original switches are under there for headlight and wipers. I believe this is a Chevrolet steering wheel from mid-60s Chevrolet car. Not 100% sure where it came from. It was just in my stash, and luckily it fit. This is a mid-60s Galaxy T-Bird dash or center console. Modified it. I'll go back through and get rid of the ashtray here. I'm gonna make this lid open, and that will have a little console in there, so I can have a little place for storage, because I don't have a glove box. So it makes it nice and smooth and slick. I'm gonna leave the center here open for now until I get an air conditioning system and see how the controls fit in there before I decide to fill that void. The whole floor from the firewall all the way back to the taillights is all the floor is made. The transmission tunnel is made. You can see I've got a big old hump here to clear the transfer case. It comes down quite a bit. I've got a drive-by-wire pedal in there from a GM vehicle, and just put in the windshield wiper motor just to test fit it to see if I had any interference issues, and I do not, so that's great news, because everything else seems to run into each other, because you know, I decided to make everything custom. This is the rear kick-up panel. I don't have that in place just so I could run the exhaust system, so I can get in there and run it. It's a 3-inch exhaust, and I've run my hard lines and my brake lines there up under the tunnel, so you can't see any of those once the car is assembled, and it'll all be painted and undercoated with a bed liner type material to match the outside color of the car. I got a rear end out of a Crown Vic, and I used the 4-link with the Watts link. I did narrow the rear axle quite a bit, and it's got disc brakes on it, so I had to narrow the Watts link arms accordingly, proportionately with the rear axle that I narrowed. And all the suspension brackets and things are made here. They're pretty stout, so I don't have any problem thinking they're going to hold up just fine. I don't plan on driving this car like a baby, so I overbuilt it if I had to, and it should handle it with no problem. I don't have any shocks yet. I'm going to do a coilover setup of some sort, maybe a QA1 or a AFCO or Viking. I've seen a couple of guys on the YouTube there that use a Viking shock for their coilover conversion on the Blazer, and gets rid of the torsion bars. So I'll probably do that and just have a matching set in the rear. Also, when I came here and showed you the rain gutter shaved off, I'm filling in this big ugly gap that was here on this window. It was just packed full of seam sealer, and when I started digging in it, I realized it was a pretty deep cavity. So I put some round rod in there and filling that in. Got a little bit of lead here, so I'm trying to avoid having to cut all this out and redo that panel, but if I have to, I will, but I'm gonna try not to. All right, coming back here to the rear of the car and the trunk area, you can see the massive kick up. It's quite a bit of a jump there. We made the entire frame from front to rear out of 2x3 steel tubing, and I have tubbed out the rear end as well. Moved those wheel tubs in quite a few inches. I forget how many it was, but it'll take probably a 14-inch wide tire, which is probably way bigger than my wallet can afford, but it will take it if I wanted to put it in there. I just wanted to go big, and that way you don't have to do it again in the future. You can always put a small tire in there. It's not going to hurt anything. This panel here is made to cover up. This panel here is made to cover up the fuel pump. Using a factory GM fuel pump. that came out of the donor car where the motor came out of. And that way there's no problem with worrying about if I got enough fuel for now. The idea is just to put the engine together stock and upgrade it as my budget allows. I have another block, 5.3 block that I'd like to build, maybe make a stroker motor out of it, but I'm really not sure how much the transfer case can handle without having to be gone through and significantly upgraded. Again, you can see back here where the exhaust has come through. It's pretty tight, but it fits really nicely. I can do the exhaust is loose from the engine up front, so it's kind of leaning a little closer, but I have V-bands in there so I can disconnect it and get at it. All this panels back here, all this is custom made from flat stock. Underneath here is a stainless steel gas tank that I made as well. And I put here so it accepts the factory fuel pump ring, and that way I'm not dealing with a custom fuel pump. I can just go to O'Reilly's or AutoZone or something like that and grab a fuel pump if I break down. I extended the panel here, the deck lid panel, and as you can see, I got rid of the fuel filler cap that's original on the Falcon, as well as the lettering, and hit a little motorcycle fuel tank fill neck here. So that's nice and clean, and you can't see it from the outside of the car. Just wanted to make it nice and clean. All this panel here is an extension. All this is made. I made a little area around the factory locks mechanism, and also this bumper here again came off of a Corvair. About 20 pieces, cut a bunch of pieces and made the bumper here. These are the original Falcon parts, just so they can kind of flow with the taillight there. And come down here, I made the lower panel as well. It's a rolled pan, and I've got the exhaust coming out here. Made a little reveal here, similar to the hood hinge surround up front I just showed you earlier, and kind of gives it a good finished look. I saw that on a Kendig show, thought that was really neat, so duplicated that. Like I said, it's all welded in and just needs a little body work, no big deal. Made a little recess here for my license plate, and I'll probably hide some lights here for tag lights. And I haven't figured out reverse lights yet, but who needs them? I'll probably regret saying that later. Oh, the deck lid. I powered the deck lid with some hood struts from a different car, and had this mechanism here with a solenoid from a Ford Thunderbird, I think it is. So just activate that with a 12-volt source, and just for testing, obviously. I don't want to lock myself out of the trunk, but it pops open and rises up very on its own, just like it should with the hood struts. But that way you get rid of the torsion bars, and I can have a lot more room there. I plan on putting a subwoofer here, and my fuse box will be over here on the right hand side. But like I said, this is my 62 Falcon. It's a big project for me. I've been working on it for several years now, and on and off, a full-time job. So when time allows, I get a little work on it, and slowly but surely we're going to get there. I plan on doing all the body work myself, and all the paint, and probably get some new glass. I do plan on doing a one-piece glass and get rid of the vent glass. Still yet to figure that out. They don't really make a kit for it. So again, everything's going to have to be made, and it's going to take some time. But thanks for following along. I hope maybe you'll follow it and share my channel and get this thing growing, and maybe I can make a little bit of money and help fund the project and keep it going. All right, everybody. I got the round stock welded back on here. It's really permanent. I'm going to go back through and trim this off here, trim this panel off here, and that way I can get a little better access to putting the hinge on and off. Got the filler right here welded in place. It'll make a nice transition into the original pocket there for the hood hinge. You can still have access to the bolts and not beat the car up when you put it back together, and save room for adjustment, stuff like that. This is the original pocket here for the hood hinge location. That bottom piece there is a panel I made and added in place to kind of give it a little stability. Like I said, once all this gets body worked, it'll all look really nice and smooth. So just gotta make the other side match now. That's the difficult part, making two. Anybody can make one. So stick around and we'll get that done and move on to the next little piece of the project. All right, and just like that, the passenger side is pretty close to matching the driver's side. Pulled the hinges out of there so I could get in there with a grinder and clean all that up. I duplicated this panel here to kind of close that off here, and that way it's just a flat piece and a little smooth transition. I appreciate you guys watching, and we'll see you next time. Thanks everybody for watching Big Leg Hot Rods.